Hi, all my Scorpios. This is your home light security reading for the month of May. And this is for all Scorpio signs, whether it's sun, moon, or rising. Please look down below. It'll show you how, if you've never watched these videos before, how to understand them. Because if you're a Scorpio sun, then it's going to be reflecting more of your core energy in general. If you're a Scorpio moon, it's getting more into your emotions. If it's a Scorpio rising, then we're looking more at your three-dimensional, and it says all this right down here. But as you see, I'm fidgeting, and this is me picking up you guys' energy. Because it took me forever to get to start this video because of the fidgeting when I finally realized that what I was picking up is the Scorpio. Now, you guys, I mean, for one, you've got the eclipse coming in. And it's not going to stop right there. That energy is more like a standstill. It's bringing in what we need to see. But what I'm getting is for you Scorpios, it's not just the eclipse coming in, it's the transformational change. And I'm really fidgeting. Like I keep playing with my dreads. I keep having to readjust my arm. I'm like, it's just uncomfortable, like having to adjust. And what this really is coming down to is dealing with areas that ego is being triggered. Ego is being triggered in the lower vibrational energies of the lower part of the blueprint itself. And it's dealing with frustration and anger and not knowing how to understand what you're feeling or what you're dealing with. And it does have to do, because when I look at the blueprint, because of what Spirit's giving me, see, like I said, I'm fidgeting. What Spirit's giving me is trying to understand what you're not understanding, or a level of vibrational energy in which you're not quite yet at, because of holding on to a lot of ego, which can deal with jealousy, inferiority, and anger, frustration. It's all part of what is in the blueprint for the chakras from the hips down. And it's where it's comfort zones that you're being pushed out of. You're being pushed into new levels, but your scorpionic inflexibility is causing this just irritation. That's just rising. Like I feel like what I'm being given is, how like when you're boiling water, and before it overflows, like it's just rising to the top, and you're feeling this frustration, this, in some areas it's resentment, it's irritation, it's lack of being seen for what you are, lack of being given credit for what you are, inferiority, and inaptability. I feel like I'm supposed to be saying, I'm getting it wrong somehow. But what it is, long story short, I'm being given the throat and the heart, and what it, but it's not really the throat chakra as much as it's overcoming fears of disappointment, insecurity, and your comfort zone. You're being pushed literally into a transformational change that I feel like many of you are not prepared or willing to take. And being Scorpio, typically it comes in your nature for the transformational change. But I feel like it's hitting areas which is very difficult. It's relationship zone areas, it's security within yourself, it's dealing with self-love and hidden parts of yourself, private parts that you keep to yourself and that you really seriously beat up on yourself so much more than you realize is what I feel like I'm getting. Like 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 in a form, it's where you damn yourself in energies, self sabotage, doubt over your path. You're wanting to push to receive, trying to be controlling, maybe manipulative, but maybe it's feeling that that's the only way that you're going to be heard or seen or respected. But it's because, like I said, the eclipse that's coming in, not just the eclipse, it's the energies that are set up all the way around. It's definitely pushing you into a transformational change, which is outside of your normal transformational energy. It's like if your normal transformation, okay, because I'm getting like it's your desires where you're afraid of them, a fear of failure within them. So you're kind of like going back and forth, like a pinball is what I'm getting. And where normally you're more fluid, able to ebb and flow more, it's like it's you're getting caught up on the frustrations that are actually redirecting your thoughts. You're getting caught up on things that are very important for you to overcome within your ego, within your healing, but it's making you redirect it and look outwardly instead of inwardly for the growth. It's making you distracted, and that's what this fidgeting is. The fidgeting is avoiding getting to the point. The fidgeting is doing anything you can to not deal with what is the actual point. And this may not be for everybody, but this is what I'm picking up, at least for a lot of Scorpios, is the fidgeting is avoiding the fear of discovery of the actual transformation that's taking place, which is, that's why I say it's in your energy of, it's very weird because they just keep me going in a circle. And that's kind of what this energy is. It's instead of circling through into a new, we just keep going around and around and around. Anyway, so I'm sorry, something showed up on my phone. What I'm getting is it's trying to avoid moving to the transformation, because if you can avoid and be stubborn and stay inflexible and think that you can push to receive and deal with all those lower vibrational frequencies of the ego that are nagging in your ear, then you feel like you're able to avoid the true situation at hand, which is your own personal growth. And it's a place that's foreign to you. Wow, that's really what it is. It's coming into a new level of spirituality, a new level of psychic energy, a new level of you and authenticity, and that all of that clutter, baggage in your head, and frustration, and anger, and disappointment, and everything that you're doubting or you don't understand, that's hitting the point and making you angrier or frustrated more within those lower vibrations. Like I said, the knees, the ankles, the feet, which is inferiority, jealousy, lack of understanding, resentfulness. A lot of that is having to do with jumping to the next realm. It's like you're finishing off the end parts that are icky, like you're cutting the cord on the ickiness that you've been 12th house, wanting to refuse to see in a form of, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurity, self-sabotage, self-undoing, where it's easier to keep looking outwardly for where the growth is stopping you instead of realizing that you can go so far beyond what you even think is capable. But that has to do with connecting with the self. And that's literally coming into a higher spiritual level of self. Wow, they just took me like full circle. They're saying, yeah, because you put too much damn self-judgment and just self-judgment, family judgment on everything. And it's coming into, choking here and into the zeal point, which allows it to then bring it right back into the negative energy. Okay, let me read off what's happening this month. Then I'll check the cards, see if there's anything else that they want to say, and then we'll get into the astrology. Mercury goes retrograde on the 10th. Technically, that's tomorrow. I believe this is the 9th. So Mercury goes retrograde on the 10th in Gemini. However, it won't stay in Gemini. On the 22nd, 12 days later, it's going to move back into Taurus and continue the rest of its retrograde. Now, on the 10th also, you have Jupiter, which is moving into Aries. This is when you're going to start feeling things start to get more aggressive, but they're not really going to fully move, I don't feel, until Aries gets Mars in it. Now, hold on, I'm going to get there. You have the lunar eclipse that is taking place in your sign on the 16th. On the 22nd, again, is when Mercury moves back into Taurus. And then on the 24th is when on the 24th is when Mars finally goes to its home sign in Aries. And I feel like a lot of this energy, even what's coming in through this eclipse, is going to kind of carry in reflection right on up until Mars jumps into Aries. I feel like until Mars jumps into Aries on the 24th, it's kind of still a standstill, not just for you, but for everybody. I feel like the true action, aggression, passion, and direction isn't going to start fully movement until Mars gets there, even though Jupiter is moving into Aries tomorrow. So it'll start reassessing the situation, get more into your mind, more into your thinking, more into... The thing is, with Aries energy, it's, I got this brilliant idea and I want to do this and this and this. Wait a minute, I got another idea. And so it doesn't follow through with it. And you're taking Jupiter's abundance, its higher knowledge, and all of that, and you're throwing it into Aries, which is a great beginning point, but not necessarily a point to follow through. And I feel like until Mars gets in here at the end of the month, the follow through is going to be kind of just circling. Okay? And like I said, a lot of this has to do with the eclipse, but it's not just the eclipse, guys. It's not. Hold on a second. What does Scorpio need? Thank you. I go wherever the cards pull me. What does Scorpio need to hear? But I don't feel like that's it, so hold on. What does Scorpio need to hear for the month of May? You guys also need to work on your back chakras. And I'm laughing because I've been getting this since, the fidgeting started. This is Amara, but it's also the solar plexus. And what I'm specifically getting is the back solar plexus, which is similar to the front, but it is a little bit different. It is also dealing with the relationships in different ways. Spirit is saying in different levels of insecurity and lack of fully trusting in the ability of the relationships with yourself as well as around you and your psychic abilities. What else? Can I please have my arm back? I understand there's some frustration going on. That has to do with heart chakra as well. That's why they won't give me my arm back. has heart chakra, which is getting cluttered because of anxiety and fear and doubt and not being able to forgive or release or surrender, trying to be in control. I got Scorpios, you guys are trying way hard to be in control. My hot truth. I'm going to go back over it in a second, but there's more coming here. No. Well, that doesn't make any freaking sense. How can you take action while you tell them not to take action? Trusting in their divine wisdom. Trusting in your divine wisdom, knowing what action to take because of that. But this is more inwardly taking action within yourself instead of outwardly. Yeah. Surrender. So what you're getting first off is the solar plexus. And I'm telling you, a lot of this has to do with the thymus, the higher back solar plexus. So don't just be paying attention to the front chakras. This is a straight shot all the way through. This is acknowledging you soulfully as one, as a single entity of flowing energy. You can't just half-ass it with just this and that. This is allowing the ebb and flow to truly flow and get out of your own way of the blockages within the solar plexus of what you fear, what you think you lack, which you do not. It's only you who feels like you lack in it. Feeling like you're not being seen or heard or known for who and what you are, which is putting you into those ego energies of those lower vibrations. Then it's coming into surrender. Find your radiant truth and balance. Breathing it back into you. That was the other thing that I forgot to bring up. I'm getting very intoxicated energies. Very intoxicated energies, and that goes with Scorpio. But does it? Okay, I mean, it does, but it doesn't. But what I'm saying is Scorpio, like when you look at it from tarot and stuff, it is also, the devil card, which is about desire and whatnot, and it can lead you into self-sabotage, but it can also be what finally breaks the chains. So I'm getting, what are you intoxicating yourself with? Are you intoxicating yourself with bigger chains or dissolving them? Are you intoxicating yourself with the new experiences and trying something new and taking a chance on yourself and rebirthing and learning something more powerful than you've ever learned before and bringing that into the sacral and the root chakra and finding a new foundation? Or are you intoxicating? What are you breathing in? What are you breathing in? See, because when I first came in to start, I was so twisted about it. I put cinnamon on for me. I put cinnamon on as an incense, and cinnamon always is, when sandalwood and everything else ain't gonna get me jacked up high enough, cinnamon is where I go. And cinnamon is what, it just felt like I was swallowing the cinnamon. So instead of like alcoholism or drugs, what are you getting intoxicated in? Are you allowing yourself to be intoxicated in the higher frequencies, in the higher vibrations that will help lead you through? Or are you getting intoxicated in the lower vibrations? So you're a Scorpio. You are all about transformation. And you have the choice of where you're taking that, whether it's a high vibrational or a 3D, a three-dimensional materialistic ecstasy of right here and now. This is coming up a lot right now. Are you looking at ecstasy in the form of, my girlfriend always uses chocolate, as she says it's, the food of the gods. And she uses, chocolate as one of those foods. But it's a moment of ecstasy. You know, like we in Scorpios, you guys are big on this, in that energy of what fills you with ecstasy for the moment. You know, for some people it's sex, for some people it's alcohol, for some people I mean, it could be anything. Some people, you know, you have your people who are in drag, and when they're out doing their in drag shows, you know, and they're pulling that off. I don't give a crap what it is that's giving you the intoxication. The thing is it giving you the intoxication that lifts you up and keeps you here? Or is it just a moment of intoxication, which is false? Is it giving you false oomph, false bringing you to the next level because it's just making you not fidget long enough to be satisfied until the next thing comes up, and then you're fidgeting again trying to avoid the real situation? Where if you go head first into the intoxication, that makes you tick. It's like being connected to an IV of chocolate. You know, what is it that's going to keep you intoxicated on the higher vibration to help find you in your way through in your spirit, versus the one that keeps you in denial and keeps the distraction going? Right now, you want to avoid the distraction. You want to get deep, because this is very much a time of coming into a new spiritual communication with yourself, a new development of self, and a new wisdom within self that you don't know is there, which is, again, bringing you back to balance, truth, finding your radiance, and Anubis taking you through taking you through the tree of life and into the next side. And I swear this is fertility for me, because I swear to God, I'm sorry, but I swear it looks like a penis and like a steak. So this is about literally walking into the next sign, finding the oomph, finding the ecstasy, finding what makes you grow, wanting to be part of it, shedding the skin, taking you to the new transformation. This is your inner shaman coming in, the new hollow bone. This is enlightenment of the heart. It is releasing the dead skin, releasing the dead skin, and going into the red light district, which is what you guys are, but without getting fucked up here. Being able to walk through the funk and still be clear. So you're coming into a new level of seeing the truth. This is actually quite brilliant, but like I said, I feel like this is going to be an energy that's going to take some time. This is a process, a learning curve that you have to give yourself the time to work through that. And I don't feel like it's going to come to an end. I feel like it's going to be a thing you're going to be kind of going through most of the month as you're adjusting this new vibration, this new running up and down the tree of life, and learning how to see it from bigger aspects. And clearing a lot of situations within the heart and the throat and the thymus, heart, throat, thymus, zeal point. You're kind of hitting, like I said, all chakras. So it's in your best interest right now to also pamper yourself and give yourself as much love and time and respect as you need, and understand that you're working through this, because you guys are seriously going through a transformational energy right now, which is outside of everybody else's. And that's not just the eclipse. I mean, it is, but it's hitting your energy of transformation, which is what you are, with an extra oomph that's not been seen for many years. I'm like, remember, this energy is also going back on 10 and 11 years that it's reflecting on, as well as energies that took place back in 1986, I believe. So there's a lot of baggage here that's being surrendered into your higher self, your higher reflection, your higher knowledge, your higher wisdom, and allowing that to actually bloom, be rebirthed. Now, as we get into the astrology itself, Scorpio, I tell everybody that I always start off with wherever the sun is. And wherever the sun is, when I look at the astrology chart, that's where you're actually going, where the energy is beginning. Because whatever house the sun is in, whatever sign the sun is in, that is technically the house that you are walking through at this time. Now, for you, this is directly across from you. This is your seventh house. This is your relationships. And up until what, the 20th, it's still going to be in your seventh house. On the 20th, it moves into the eighth house, which just makes the relationships more intimidating. Not intimidating, but much more of a focal point. Because, like I said, the relationship itself is one thing, but then we're starting to get into really tampering with the rules, the walls, the boundaries of these relationships, the true reflection, the true growth, the true blooming, or is it not growing? Is it not healthy? Is it being neglected? Is it dying? Is it a cord that needs to be cut? After the 20th, when the sun moves into Gemini. Not to mention, Mercury just went retrograde. Okay? But let me start off with your first, with where your sun is. Let me validate I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your seventh house relationship zone is where the sun is. You have Uranus here. You have Taurus here. You just had, it is Taurus. It's Taurus, Uranus, the sun, the North Node, all in your seventh house of your relationship zone. Ruled by, on a natural level, it's ruled by Libra. So automatically you're trying to find harmony and balance. And automatically, Libra energy is all about trying to find harmony, balance, and justice. But 90% of the time, it's not seeing the harmony and balance and justice. 90% of the time with Libra energy, it's showing you where it's lacking. Now you put that energy of acknowledging that in the relationship zone itself into your marriages, your partnerships, your business contracts, your relationships, your divorce, your weddings, your separations, your lawsuits, anything you care about, you have a relationship with, from your children to your parents to your spouse to your money. If you have no money, you know about your relationship with the lack of money. So anything that you have a partnership with, you have a relationship with. Now, this is speaking about what is your part in these relationships: independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Are you being seen for who you are in these relationships? As well as, are you showing just who and what you are in these relationships? Or are you kind of on the sidelines going, well, let me reflect and look, but you're not really showing it? You're not really fully standing it? Because, like I said, it's going to be moving, the sun is going to be moving into your eighth house, where we have Ceres and Mercury, which Mercury is in retrograde, in the eighth house, which is the responsibilities of these relationships. They're the relationships rules. It's the joint efforts, joint resources, joint finances. Are they fair? Are they balanced? Are they just? Or were they just told to you, this is what you'll accept and you'll accept it? Or will you? And in some cases, that's the authority of the relationship. Well, is the relationship fairly balanced? When we get real, when we get honest, when we get thinking about, who owns what in the relationships, are they meant to be balanced fairly, or is it adjustments from what your part is in it? And where is it viewing from there? Mercury is in retrograde, which is going to be in your head about these relationships, about how they're unjust, about how they're not balanced, they're not fair, and why do I have to put up with this, and da. And it's up to you to understand and to control your Mercury, and to understand if Mercury's just in your head talking shit, or if it's just bringing it up to the surface to go, here's the imbalance. So where are you going to take this energy? Are you going to do something with it versus being at that level and now it's fully an ego and out of control? Because when Mercury goes retrograde, we get self-centered. We can't help it. The communication is only talking to us. It is not talking outwardly to the rest of the world. And it's talking to you in your 7th and 8th house this month. So it's talking to you about the relationships being fair and just. Are you seeing the truth? Are you over in your head analyzing, actually making them more out of balance? You know, where has your inner Mercury retrograde gone too far versus what is the truth? And you have Ceres here, the very end of that 8th house, which is speaking about, well, is it being nurtured properly, these relationships and their shifting changes? Or are you neglecting very important details which could nurture them, but you're neglecting them? Maybe not just you, maybe the whole effort in general is being neglected. I'd rather, put my head in underneath the dirt and ignore it. But when we ignore things, they just get worse. So this is saying, really, are you taking a good look at yourself in these relationships and your part in them? And then from your part versus the actual thing, how fair and just is it? Where is it being nurtured? Where is it being neglected? Where are you talking too much shit to yourself and just in your head actually creating it to be much worse than it really is? Because that's what Mercury retrograde is. It gets in and brings in self. It does. It can bring in self-destruction just as much as it does a redo. And you're talking about it being in Gemini energy, which is also curious and wanting to understand and wanting to learn. But it is also kind of emotionalist. It's Jekyll and Hyde. It's either all logic or it's all emotion. One of the two. And then when it bounces back into Taurus, it's going to be getting into that bullheaded energy again. And Taurus is all wanting heaven here on earth. And why can't I just have it? Why gotta go through all this bullshit to get to it? I just want it. Why can't I now? So that's part of what you're looking at as you're coming through this month and you're reflecting on your own ego versus the truth. Now, you have in your 9th house, for you, this might also have a lot to do with it. Your 9th house is Cancer. Your 9th house is Cancer. Ceres has not moved in to the 9th house yet. It's solely being provided by energy at this moment with Lilith. Now, I like Lilith in energy. She usually speaks to us of, our soul fire, speaking into what are you here to burn for? But in Cancer, she's kind of like a dud in the water. And I'm sorry, but she is. And because she becomes very submissive here. This is your 9th house. This is your deeper reasoning. This is your deeper reasoning for being, your spiritual interception with the connection of the higher world and this three-dimensional world. This is your ethics, your morals, your higher self. But with Lilith here, this is asking, are you going to allow submissive energy to push you around and tell you how to reflect? Or are you going to start being independent and showing the world, no. This is where me standing my guns. This is me owning my morals, my ethics, my three-dimensional world, as well as my psychic world, and me coming into the power of me. So again, what I've been saying all along is, if you're not in your power, someone else will be. But this is literally getting into the spiritual sense. Lilith here is not very powerful. She's more submissive. And it's highly important for you at this time to not be submissive, to be able to stand in your power, to understand it. Because like I said, this is your 9th house. It's your psychic ability. You don't want to just open up the door for anybody to come walking up in there on a psychic level. So don't do it on a moral level, and don't do it on an ethical level either. This is truly going, are you going to evaluate your power? Are you going to show your power? Are you going to be your power? Which is actually what Lilith is about. But like I said, in this energy, she becomes more submissive, which means the need of independence is more valid and important right now. Now, we're going to get back to your first house, which is where the eclipse is taking place on the 16th. A big reason of your main transformation and everything that, like I said, the fidgeting and everything that you're going through is because you have the South Node here in Scorpio. Now, for you, it's probably affecting you more than a lot of other signs with the South Node. And the reason why is the South Node is everything that you're incredibly really good at, but it's not good for you anymore. It doesn't serve you. Forget you being Scorpio for a second and just understand, on a universal level, Scorpio is that 8th house. Scorpio is the rules, the walls, the boundaries of these relationships, being able to move them and transform them as necessary. Well, the South Node in your Scorpio energy is going, I'm really good at transforming this. I'm really good at shifting it this way. I'm really good at doing it this and then, but it doesn't serve you anymore. You have outgrown it. The reason it's causing you so much more drama than many people who have had the South Node in their sign of other signs is their sign isn't transformation. Yours is. Yours is fertility and rebirth. Yours is the rules, the walls, and the mystery of life. This is time for you to step into a more deeper, valid level of, like, that hollow bone that I speak about, of the transformation of life, seeing it from a more broader, wider aspect. Because sticking with the normal, the South Node is everything you're good at, but it's not good for you anymore. Where is your normal rules, walls, and boundaries? Not working anymore. Because you've gotten good at it, but you've outgrown it. The transformation has to take place in order for you to grow now. In order for you to step up one more chain on that ladder into your true spirituality. And now we're taking that, we're putting it into your first house. And this is speaking of your character itself. Speaking of how you identify with yourself, how you identify with the world around you by what you see. It is the appearance of the world and the appearance of you at the same time. How are you choosing to reflect on what you see? How are you choosing? If you're reflecting from the same perspective as always, then you're not growing. Because right now, like I said, what's directly across from you are mirrors of the relationships, showing you where all of those ego ideas are actually keeping you from reflecting inwardly at the truth in your own transformational birth. Because you can't make someone else outside of you grow. You can choose to leave the relationships. You can choose to see if it's possible for you to grow in them. But the whole point is, the only person who you can make grow is you. And this is transformation. This is you as a lotus flower, baby. Are you in the muddy, murky swamp because you're just a brand new baby flower growing, which is fine? Are you starting to come into the frothy middle land where the seed is starting to come up and you're actually seeing there is an above and there is a below? There's a much wider spectrum. Or are you finally lifted up out of that and you're lifting into the light towards the bloom and you're seeing the full picture? You're traveling the tree of life. So are you realizing you can travel it in many directions? Are you realizing that the more you travel it, the more your DNA shifts and the more you upgrade, because it starts to expand wider? So this is asking you during this eclipse when you're looking outwardly at the relationships and what they entail, and the rules, the laws, the boundaries, and the fairness, and the just, and the balance, you're also seeing a reflection of where you're out of balance. And what I mean by that isn't even that you're out of balance, it's where you're not stepping into your growth. There's so much more than you're seeing. And it's so much more of the hollow bone that you're stepping into. This is coming into a new level of character in you, bringing you to a whole new spectrum of spirituality and truth. It's a very powerful time, and most people are not going to be getting the eclipse energy like you will because of this. Because, like I said, you are transformation on top of a transformation, setting for 6 months into a brand new life, a brand new you. So this is definitely something you're going to be feeling, especially, like I said, up until Mars makes its movement into Aries, because everything's kind of just like, like swampland, kind of like just floating until Mars starts to make that action. I'm just telling you it like it is. When you come into your third house, you have Pluto here. Death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. This is saying there's something about your communication with the outer world, with yourself, and with your higher energies, of which there is a necessary energy to grow. There's a part that's done. It's not good anymore. It's old. In order for you to move forward, when it goes into Aquarius, Pluto, it's going to be death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration, and a whole new energy, a whole new idea. And taking bigger chances. So this is preparation for though I walk through the shadow of death, I truly, I don't fear any evil. I was born in it. I was born in the red light district. I can walk through this sober as shit and be completely fine. This is where they're taking you guys. They're taking you to a whole new level of powerful energy, one that you could ever probably never understand. As you move into your fourth house, this is setting the rules, the walls, the boundaries. Saturn is here. And everybody's been talking to Saturn, all of these energies. Saturn is in your fourth house, which is helping you reconstruct your inner emotional security, helping you redirect the transformation, helping you to see where it works for you and where it doesn't, by understanding where you're not working in here for you, where you're not nurturing yourself truly, but in fact giving yourself neglect. And I use this example a lot because of the way I'm being shown it right now. They're showing it to me more in the level of Ceres energy. For you is what Saturn is in Aquarius, because it's your fourth house. But what they're saying is, like, when you're nurturing properly, think of like child support. People go to fight for child support over, you know, neglect. And what's being neglected? Is it the food? Is it the clothing? Is it actually being taken care of and being watched over? Are they being treated properly? Do they have bad parents who, you know, beat them? This is all part of what we're looking at. Are you understanding how to get nourished properly in your inner emotional security by understanding where you've neglected the healing and the nourishment to take place? Because that will reset and redirect those rules, walls, and boundaries of the outer world. Not saying that I'm keeping myself caged up and you can't come in, but saying, no, I'm completely secure. I don't care how much in my face you are. There's nothing you can do. I am secure because you nurtured yourself, not neglected. And this is part of what the whole relationship situation is for you at this moment. Now, as we get into your Pisces energy, That's your fifth house, your creative house. Your creative house at this moment has been a little bit of a dead in the water dud. And the reason I say that is because you have had Jupiter here, but Jupiter is, like I said, from here on out, Jupiter is going to be jumping into Aries. So the abundance and the knowledge of understanding from in the hidden secrets of your truths kind of going to be lost. Jupiter's moved into Aries. Your fifth house is your creative pursuit, but Mars has no energy here. Mars is like floating. It's like sitting in a board meeting. Like, yeah, I have passion, action. I know I'm the warrior, but I can't do anything until you let me out of this freaking board meeting. Neptune is your magic. So your magic is on delay. Your magic isn't getting its extra spoof of energy. It's like the fire in the water. It's like the temperance card. You're kind of sitting still at the moment, reflecting on where you want to take this magic, where you want to take this pursuit of pleasure, what you want to do with it. I always say the pursuit of pleasure, your fifth house, it's not just your creative expression or your creativity or your inner child. It's an ensemble of all of them. It's where the artist is able to create its art because it allowed the ebb and flow to come through. It allowed the musician to figure out how to write the music by listening to their heart and soul. And it's where the artist who writes the poems was able to make you cry, or the singer, because they were able to touch your heart because they touched their own. This is asking you, where is that pursuit of pleasure? Where is that pursuit of truth? Where is that pursuit of you? And evaluating at this time where you're taking that magic, because when it jumps into Aries, which is the sixth house, your rules, your walls, your routines, your mundane tasks, it's going to be ready to take action. But that's really not going to start showing until around the 24th. And in the meantime, you're dealing with this Mercury retrograde crap and the eclipse crap. So this is definitely a time of shift and exploring you on a deeper level, as well as what you want to be. Like I said, it's the musician being able to make you cry because they were able to touch your heart. Can you do that for your own self? And then bring it into your daily activity, your daily life, your people, places, and things of routines without being feared, without you fearing it. This is coming into security. This is truly a level of security most people aren't going to get if you're doing this work. This is a security level most people will not achieve if you can actually do this walk right now, do this work right now. It is a glorious thing for you. If not, it's going to show manipulation, I'm telling you. As you move into Aries, which is your 12th house, it's going to say the grief, the sorrow, the shame, the blame, the insecurity, what's frustrated, what anger, what is swept underneath the rug, the self-deception, the self-denial. That's where the Scorpio energy is going to come out. That's where it's going to hit the wall, running, pissed off, slamming its tail at everybody. Because if you haven't been doing this work, it's going to hit to where you're going to feel like you can only manipulate to get your way out. And that's not the point. The point here is to bring the healing by acknowledging these things and this light and this transformation before it gets into so far into the deception that it has no choice but for the scorpion to sting the Scorpio, for you to start finding your way back to the proper path, to start to evolve. This is saying don't let it get to where it's so clogged up underneath there, your self-deception, your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and insecurities, by pointing outwardly and looking outwardly, all because you was afraid to become, you know, that actor, that sports person, that musician that was able to make you cry because They touched your heart. All you got to do is reach in and be able to bring the transformation up and out of you in a way that nobody is going to be able to expect. And it will put you so much further ahead of everybody else. But if you're afraid, then it's going to take you into a whole new level of fear, trying to hold on to the cage and trying to manipulate your way out. Because, in honesty, it's the scorpion stinging that Scorpio for its healing, to have it no choice but to start to move forward by forcing it. So don't put yourself through that. I love you guys. Bye.